want the next topic to be about. So without any further delay, I'd like to, I'm really, really honored and I'm thrilled to introduce to you our key facilitator, mentor, a person I know you have interfaced with, a lady I know you have watched on TV one time or two, and she's none other than Dr. Hanifa Namalathengendo, a distinguished pediatrician, a certified master coach with over 25 years of experience as a clinician, a program manager, and a mentor. We are so humbled to be working under her. She's our CEO at Stepping Stone Platform, a nationally recognized and an award-winning social enterprise, empowering all corporate institutions throughout the country with intentional parenting and personal development programs. She is deeply passionate about family-centered solutions. Therefore, being a mother of both millennials and teenagers, I'm sure she's going to bring lived experience, evidence-based experience to all that she's going to share with us today so that she can help us bridge the generational gaps at home and at our workplaces. Kindly join me to welcome her, and I'm sure that you're going to be enlightened, you're going to be empowered, and sit back, grab your notebook and a pen and get ready to get transformed. And I know you're going to have a better way of how you're going to communicate with your child. Let's begin. Dr. Hanifa, you are welcome. You're welcome to this webinar. The parents are waiting to hear from you, and I believe they can't wait to receive all the wisdom and knowledge you have to share. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm so glad that I've gotten this opportunity to speak to this afternoon, especially since it's a Friday. I guess people are, looking forward to the weekend. But nonetheless, thank you very much. As we dive deep into this topic, by the way, I should first say that it resonates so much with me, as I will give my personal story. But also as we begin, as parents, we shouldn't feel guilty. And we are giving that disclaimer because, as I keep saying, parenting is not for cowards. Whatever has been happening or whatever will continue happening, first of all, let's wash off any guilt that you may have as a parent. Now, I'll just begin by saying that you have heard from Janet. Janet is a young mother, like she told you. But this topic came up because of the overwhelming need. Like, normally we have a WhatsApp group, and several times we actually put on polls to ask people what topics they want us to talk about. And this one came 60%. People were inboxing, people were really calling to say, for us, this is like our major challenge. And it was really resonating with me. And basically, turning down the volume is to create a peaceful communication. It's a powerful parenting tool, by the way. So basically, we are here to understand as parents why turning down the volume is very critical. And if we don't, the damage it causes, but also how to manage communicating with children of different age groups. Because even as we talk about turning down the volume, you will appreciate that the age of the child matters. And that for me resonates so much with me because, as I will keep telling you and as I keep saying that naturally by my personality, I'm a loud speaker, I'm commanding, I don't know whether that English is there, I am bossy, that is my personality. And I guess There could be several other parents who have the same personality like myself. But just to start it off, if the highest volume was 10 and the lowest is 1, just remember in the last 2 days, what was the volume that you communicated to your child, whether it's a toddler, whether it's a baby? What was the scale? Did you communicate at 1? Did you communicate at 10, 8? I just want to see 2 or 3 people tell us. What is your scale of the volume in the last 2 days, especially so since children are in their holidays? Someone will help me see what is in the chat room.
Yes,
So
Dr.
what was your
Someone has said 3. I'm not going to read names. And then someone has shared 7. The scale went up to 7 and 5. And the last ones being 4. The scale raised to 4 when she was talking to her child, doctor.
Okay, it just shows us that irrespective, and you see in this particular question, we are not saying that this is the correct scale, by the way. We are just saying that as parents, we should train ourselves to turn the volume down. But whatever the scale that we are on, don't feel any guilt. That one, I just want to assure you that for this particular session, wash off that guilt. Why? Because I should say that these things happen. And we all know that parenting is not for cowards. So in this journey of parenting, why I'm saying we shouldn't feel guilty is that in this journey of parenting, as I went into parenting coaching, like trying to understand, this is because when I used to work in the clinics, many times parents would bring in their children, you check everything is actually normal. But then you see there is something not tallying up. The child is not happy, especially as they get into teenage and those at uni. During vacation, there are lots of issues. So when we upskilled as an organization to promote parenting coaching as being essential, basically behind us, the major intention was to strengthen parent-child relationship. Because my dear parents, I'm sure, irrespective of the age of your child, the world is not as before, and it will not be the same. Like it is not the same tomorrow. You know, all the time things change. I know for the last, is it 3 months when Trump came on board? We even have new terminology like TAPS. You know, Trump's affected persons. When Trump came, things changed. So even parenting has to change, although we should maintain values. And you know why we really think that parenting coaching is so essential, especially for us working parents. And you know, you can be working from home, you can be working from a personal, you know, business, or you can be working from another corporate institution, an 8 to 5 job, or working at night. We need to manage parenting challenge. The challenges that come, whether we stay home moms or whatever, we really need to promote parenting coaching. And basically, we are thinking of positive discipline. There is no one, I disclaim that, is saying that, because some parents, when we are in the room, like we have one-to-one, says, but don't you want us to discipline children? No, we actually want to discipline children. Personally, I'm also a parent. It would be unserious for me to say that I do not want you to discipline your child. But what we are advocating for now is positive discipline and having that emotional intelligence. Like as children keep growing, many things are changing. So that is the reason why we are here. And the moderator already mentioned that why we came up with this session is because parents actually asked for it. And that for me is already talking to the parents. for me, with my personal story, I have children that are of different age groups. I have those that are in 20s. I have the ones that are 18, thereabout. Then I have the typical teens coming up, 11, 12. Remember, being a parent does not mean you actually, this is your biological child. But for example, I have a school, which is a college school. They call me mommy doctor. So I have over 1,000 children as a parent. But particularly for me, biologically, I noted that the way I would speak to my children that are now entering their 30 or 27 years is totally different from the way I speak to my current Gen Zs and teens. Something has changed. And many times the elder siblings complain, Mami oyo omukuze ekyejo, as in, I'm pampering these young ones. It's not really pampering, but it is just the promotion of positive discipline in this era where a child just takes their life. I know, sorry, we've had in the last maybe 2 weeks or 3, we've had children committing suicide. We've had children gunning themselves, shooting themselves down. I mean, many things. We've had children taking their lives away just because of things that would have been solved. We are not wrong as parents, even when children do those things, but maybe we needed to do something differently, okay? So for me, when I relate with that, I'm really, really appealing to my fellow parents that let's not have the guilt, but let's just be ready to positively discipline our children. Why? Before I even go deeper into this, let's just remember that the children of different age groups, for example, the toddlers, remember in this relationship, if you are the parent with a toddler, maybe 2 years, a parent with a 6-year-old, a parent with a teenager who is 17 years, a parent with a uni child, in this relationship, the adult brain is the one for the adult. I mean, the brain that is fully grown, meaning that in whatever the circumstance, the adult brain that is totally grown to accommodate whatever the turbulence, whatever the turbulence, who should control most? Is it the child or the parent? I would like people to give me answers. Just put in the chat room. In this relationship, where you have the adult brain and the child brain, irrespective of age, who should actually control the speed? Is it you or the child? Who is more mature to do that? I just need like 2 answers. Is it the child or the adult? Who is more grown to control that? Janet, are you able to see in the chat room? Is it the adult or the child?
Oh, yes, doctor. Someone has said here the adult, Hilda Grace has said it's the adult to control the brain of the child. And then someone has given also an answer that the adult.
Okay.
Then someone has said the parent.
Okay. So
Yes.
already what that means is that for us as parents, as we promote positive discipline, the brain that is in control, either to increase the volume to 10 or to 1, the person who should create a circumstance for controlling the volume is the adult brain. And that is the parent and that is the adult. Just because, let me just bring you to speed that toddlers, those children about Am I back? I would like to check in with the modulator.
Oh yes, doctor, you're back. Yeah, sorry
Yes,
for.
sorry about that hiccup. Let me just share again. And we had reached a point where actually trying to understand that in this relationship, of course, after having said that it is the adult brain that should make sure the volume is really, really controlled, we are also reminding parents that if you have a toddler, omwana ayavula, omwana atandikiriza, a child trying to understand, the major part that is growing is actually the language and the motor. And I was saying the children are trying, can I climb? That's why you see the 2 years old, they climb everything. If I touch this, is it hot? The most part that is active and working is actually the language and the muscle motor. So when they don't sort of listen, it is not because, by the way, they are hearing, but they are not just listening or really understanding like you want them to. That's why you end up, because for you, you were thinking that they should be understanding. I told you long time ago. But now for us as parents on this Stepping Stone webinar, we are saying that as parents, we should be knowledgeable to know that actually the brain, they can hear, but the listening
Uh, Dear parents, kindly share how best you can also share as a way doctor to share with us how the insights on how we can really turn down our volume. You can as well share in the chat room when that volume rose to a scale of 7. What did you do to try and calm yourself down as a parent? It's really important, just like doctor has told us that we, the adults, we are the ones to really control the way we can react to whatever is happening around at home. Kindly share in the chat room as we wait for our key facilitator.
No. Thank you very much. Yaka went off and somehow things just blacked out, but I'm happy it came back very fast. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, doctor. We are glad to have you back.
Thank you very much. What I was saying is that the brain development now, it's about the language and the motor. So they have limited interest in trying to understand. That's why they have tantrums, because they have undeveloped self-regulation. That is why they mimic adults. When you say a chikopo, when you say cup, they try to do that. But they also have strong attachment to caregivers, just because that is the brain development. And when we go to the side of preteens, those ones that are about 6, 7, 8, 9, so the brain is now beginning to plan and solve problems. And they are trying to start thinking. So they start having that increased social awareness. They are trying to understand the environment. That's why if they refuse to go to certain areas, they refuse to speak in strange, circumstances, because they are actually trying to have that social awareness. They start to begin to be independent. They start to ask, although they still need guidance, but they are trying to be more getting their personal identity. And when they get into the teenagers, the brain now is now dominated by logic. They are trying to have that logic. However, there is still ongoing development, especially in trying to be judgmental, but they don't want to be judged. They are seeking a lot of rewards. That's why they want to be told you are beautiful, you are smart, what? So they tend to have a lot of mood swings, emotional outbursts. Risk taking, because they are for the 2 years. My friend said that, so my friend dressed like this. So, because of in values, it
Our lovely parents, I had shared a question on some of us can be sharing how best we can, what we can do to really turn down our volumes before doctor shares the practical bits of how we can do it professionally. Kindly share in the chat room.
Thank you very much. For one reason, because of Wi-Fi, power goes on and off. But so most of the time, why we actually end up, raising our voices, it is to exert authority. I hear some parents saying, "Tomanyiti nze mama wano, don't you name the father, don't you name the, eh?" But also we do that to emulate our parents' styles, because we know that the way we were parented, everything was like in the army, order and emoji. I don't know whether we have some army people here. Okay? So it was like, when I speak, you shouldn't say anything. But in this work environment, when you are stressed, you go back home, you put all that stress on the child, or when you are leaving in the morning. For example, today I left home at about 5:30. Now, in that morning, when I'm rushing, give me tea, give me my cup, my laptop, we end up raising our voices, but also we get exhausted so much than ever before, because we are in the traffic jam, we are at a stressful workplace, But sometimes, especially as children grow, parents feel like we are unheard. Hence, we sort of raise our voices to get heard, I should say. Although it doesn't work very well, but it happens. So, but the cost of high volume is really, really a lot. From my personal experience, I have noted that wherever I am speaking to my own children and I raise my volume, by the way, I get emotionally stressed. I get stressed, I think, more, because the more I shout, the more I see them, trying also to respond in the same tone. But now, since I started coaching, that is when I'm like, but anyway, I should be the one now to do what? To tone down. That doesn't mean I'm not the authority, but I just get into that being cognizant that actually, by the way, in this relationship, I am the adult. So whenever we raise our voices, damaged relationship, especially when children get into the teenage or when they are going to uni, that relationship, it's like Oh, mommy doesn't want to talk. For them, they say we don't want to talk. Leave alone the issues that are bringing that, the issues of raising our volumes, but also behavior effects. Like instead of respect, children fear you. I think in our age, we used not to separate between respect and fear. I am sure people who are above 40, most of the time were raised out of fear. Yes, we came out very well. I hear parents say, but remember, things have changed. We didn't have smartphones. We didn't have, Wi-Fi. We didn't have, maybe solar was not as common as now. So many things have changed. So we've seen children changing behavior because of the way we talk to them, especially the volume, the intonation, the facial expressions as we talk. And then we end up with those issues like you've heard about children who are committing suicide. I mean, these things are really happening to our homes or even to our neighbors. So, for me, the things I am going to share as things that I've seen work from the coaching sessions that we've, been speaking with parents. When children are toddlers, children below 2 years, because I've told you how the brain is thinking, the brain of a toddler, if parents can't, the brain of a toddler is thinking about language. The brain is growing so much into language. So sign language, for example, we used to grow when they could eye you, when you put the finger on on your mouth, when you sort of give a star, like a plain gaze, they can actually understand. Than what? Than shouting or than raising the volume so much. Because it is because the brain at that time understands the sign language, understands the eye contact, because why? Their motor or their muscle growth is getting into action. The other thing that I've talked with my parents and I've seen it work, Janet, just alert me, am I audible?
Yes, Doctor, you're so much audible.
The other thing that I've seen working is the use of a parenting journal, and we shall actually dive into this later on. But the major thing for toddlers is to try to use sign language, eye contact, try to connection over command. For example, you can ask a toddler, are you doing something right? Other than saying, you are not doing something right. This one, connection, means they will start thinking and they are like, oh, wow. Because a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old can know when they are doing something right or something wrong. And then when children get to the preteen age, I have seen the naughty corners. I don't know whether people know about naughty corners. My child, whom I first used the naughty corners, is now actually 18 years when she was going to kinder care, nursery school. Like you create a particular corner and you are like, when you preteen are those ones that are about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They are not yet teenagers, but they are that age when they are running up and down. So the use of naughty corners, like you get a particular corner and you are like, when you don't behave, then you'll go into that corner. Eye signals continue working. I hear parents saying the children of these days, they don't know eye signals. But then you train them. You start slowly. You have to start early. And they know that when mommy looks at me with this eye, they are like, what I'm doing is wrong. And of course, in this era of communication, we talk about a parenting journal. Like we journal our work. What about journaling as parents to improve our communication? So for the teenagers, it's about the wording, the way we talk to them. Just this whole, they were playing what? Fufa. because I think I'd gotten his holidays, he really cooked me up. You know, mommy, tomorrow after prayers, I'm going to sleep. Kumbe, he had actually wanted to really use his PSP at an awkward time. So when he woke up, I noticed that he was a bit sleepy. Hence, I was trying to understand, why could this boy be really so sleepy like that? I realized that he had actually woken up early to pray, but then he went on his PSP. What I did, I withdrew it. So for teenagers, withdrawing a privilege actually works. Okay? And then, of course, you are very naughty. Those things lead to raising voices, because the child will say, after all, I know how to raise them. I mean, mommy said I am naughty. You get what I mean? Mommy said I am naughty. So even if I raise my voice in a way, I know maybe that is the order of the day. So, and then also the parenting journal. Because why? Why am I stressing the parenting journal? It helps us to write down some of the things that stress us, that get us to be exhausted, and then we can be able to, you know, to put sitting down. But remember, sitting down starts at the age when they are about 15 years. Why? This era, when we are so busy, you cannot remember things that actually turn you on or off. The only way is to write them down, but also when you write down, you cool down. It also gives you an opportunity to actually speak to this child later. I put a transient silent mode. This one, I was meaning that many times, we know, for example, in marriage, when things are not going well, you can actually decide to give a silent mode. This age, teens and these other ones, if you try to put a silent mode, no, you die a little. No vanga avesonyemuko, in terms of, you see the data plates in the sink. When you see them, you can look at them and keep quiet. When they see that, they can actually, sometimes they can realize, hey, mommy just passed. Ooh, they can even say, oh, she didn't see these things. Because now the teenagers and these young adults entering uni, they can sense. Withdrawing a helping hand. Parents, many times the things that make us shout is because we want to help so much. You left things in the sink, you're already washing the things, you're already cleaning the house, while you are shouting. Sometimes you need to die a little and you withdraw your helping hand. You look as though you are not seeing, in a way, because the brain is so sensitive. Remember, we said that the teenager brain, when they get to about 10, the problem solving or the abstract thinking part of the brain, which is in front, what for us we call them the frontal lobes, it is actually developing so much, and they can start to listen. The emotional part of the brain is also dominating, meaning they can sense your emotions and be able to do things. Otherwise, the shouting or the raising of the volume comes because we are not emotionally stable, and yet we cannot do some of these things so that we cool down and then we avoid the raising of the volume. So in most of our workplaces, they tell us, you know, for you to be a good communicator, try to listen. Guys, members, sorry, fellow parents, you know, I talk to children so much. Fellow parents, let's train ourselves to give children a chance to express themselves. Before the child talks, we are already talking. But remember, you are the adult. The brain is so much grown that can actually, even if it comes, I won't say particularly me, I never do it at all. I do it even right now, but I try to remember in this new era that now I should give this child a chance to, even if I know he's lying, I try to cool down, because sometimes I look at my son or my daughter, and I can see she's really lying. You know what? When I finished washing, I did this, then I did the homework. But for me, when I see the way the things look, but I listen as I'm cooling, as I'm trying to understand even what to answer. Pause before responding. You can take deep breaths. You know, these days we are telling people about mental health. Taking a breath helps you to reward. Maybe you are going to say, oh no, one I'm sitting with one time, because most times when we are raising our volumes, we are not saying sweet words. You can't say, no, no, no. Most times we are actually saying bad things or things that are negative onto our children. So when you take that, and it takes training, I cannot lie to you that it is easy. No way. It just takes that training of kumira mukka. I think mu Luganda bwe bagambanga mira omukka. But it means that when you take that breath, it helps you to consider the words. If you are going to shout at 10, then you can maybe say 8. Ankale musoke mujje wano. Wano mwayezeewo. Did you really sweep here? And then also the feelings of our children. Let me tell you, children of these days have a lot of emotions. They are very emotionally sensitive. Very, very emotionally sensitive. So we have to accept that they also have feelings. And let's allow the children say those feelings. You see, the suicidal notes that we have, most of the times when we are in our parenting coaching sessions, the parents don't think that children have feelings and that they should actually express them. The child can come and tell me, Mommy, mazima mommy wanyiziza. Then I listen, you know, because Mommy, you said I had done this, I had done. They can say over 10 things. When I'm looking like this, I know amongst the 10, by the way, I might have said like maybe they did one thing and they did. But out of 10, I know 9 of them are because. But just to accept that, you know, as they also talk, they are cooling down, then we get that calmness into, okay, Kali, this one you didn't do it. Okay, that one, I'm sorry, I thought you did it. What about 1, 2, 3, 4? You see, still, but let's accept emotions, because we are in the era where our children are so sensitive. You see, even those 2-year-olds, they are sensitive. They are seeing these cartoons that are so emotional, you know? They are seeing the football wafufa when they are playing those PSP things. I hear them in the sitting room. No, you hit me so hard. Those things. It is just because they also have emotions. But in our days, we used to think that our parents thought that we shouldn't have emotions. Let's now, in this era of exposure, in this era when children can go and talk about us at their school, let's accept their emotions so that they can actually be able to talk, you know, so that they can be able to talk. Otherwise, if they don't talk, those suicidal notes will read, you know, Mommy, you didn't want me to talk to you. And don't keep lamenting. Mulembe gwaffe twali omuzadde ng'omwana tomuwadde akugamba atya ekigambo. I'm the authority. Yes, there are better ways to exert your authority, by the way, than raising the volume. Because we said, by the time we raise our voices, we are not saying, probably, we are not saying nice things. We are pissed off over something. Model calmness, mirror our children, by the way, mirror our communication style. That is for sure. They mirror the way we say it. But for me, my fellow parents, we are saying we are not guilty. Let's try to listen, however hard it can be. It can be so hard, let me tell you. It is not easy. That one, I totally disclaim. It is not easy at all. But let us just try, because we've seen that as the brain grows, there are certain things. In accepting emotions, I'll just share one story that recently my daughter, who is about 18, is 19 years now. normally, okay, not normally. Sometimes she leaves things in the sink, but this particular time, it was actually my husband that had left was it a bottle? So I had actually crashed onto my daughter, not the crashing for boys these days, children talk of crashing. But I had really, said, you leave things, now you've left this bottle. But when she came and said, but mommy, today it is not me. Much as for me, I was ready to give back. I listened. She said, no, you see, this type of juice, this is daddy. So I said, I'm sorry, it is not you. So I accepted that I was wrong and I cooled it down. I apologized. But long again, I couldn't apologize. So this time I listened and I tried to know that actually I was the one who was in the wrong. So the power of patience, irrespective, because we've known how the brain is behaving, we cannot continue the same way. Most of the time, as I tell you, my fellow parents, we keep saying, "Fenga batu kuzabulala." Yes. Fete twaina simu, fete twaindi tetulopa. We are not even, how could you clopa your dad or your mom? But these days, we get most of the things in school, how parents are fighting, how mommy beat daddy, how we are not talking in the home, how we are not eating, how we are treating maids. All those things end up at school. The general generation has changed. Let's inculcate the values, but we can do those things in other ways other than having high volumes, okay? I kept talking about the parenting journal, and I would like to talk about the journal. So Stepping Stone, we have a parenting journal, and in this journal, I don't see my picture, I think somehow, okay, it's in animation and it's probably taking long. So we have what we call a stepping stone journal. The journal is a parenting journal. It is helping us parents to document our feelings, okay? The journal, actually, we are selling it, but it is something that for me particularly, I've used. The journal indicates that for a parent, you can write certain things, either that make you happy or make you dull. And what that helps you is that, the times when you are writing those bad things, it helps you to cool down, okay? I'll ask Rachel to broadcast the journal when I finish part of the journal, like the cover. So in this journal, it helps us record or note patterns in your child's communication, because you can also identify children who will grow up shouting or children who don't want to talk or whatever, because sometimes we shout because our children are not talking. I'll give myself as an example. My firstborn is an introvert. The secondborn is an extrovert. So all that time I would conflict with my secondborn because she wasn't talking. Yet it was her nature, until I styled up and just knew that actually by nature, my secondborn is an introvert. So I shouldn't actually just let her, talk louder. But now when she grew up with affirmation and trying to help her, she's one of the big people that can actually speak. Track what works. These things, the things I've even said, they do not work for everybody. Document what works. If the note corner doesn't work, if taking them out doesn't work, look for what works for you, because this child is born differently. Each parent is different. Each situation is different, but you can actually know what works for you. For example, for me, I even forgot to put it there. I have seen that for me, cooling down by telling my son to write an apology letter. I have about how many apology letters? The recent one is for the PSP. So when they write these apology letters, when you read on them, you actually reflect. not about when he was lying or when he was telling the truth, but also letting the children write. In your journey, you can actually write and put that. I will let my son or my daughter write something that, pissed me off. And you read it to them that, I don't like this thing. And then you look for things also to improve. Let me tell you, fellow parents, long ago we thought parents were right 100%. But nowadays we know we as parents, we are not 100% correct. Okay? And then let's be ready to adjust based on these different situations. So basically, the key takeaways are that let's communicate based on age, but also people on this call, you have known that the way the brain grows, we should be cognizant that the children are behaving because of the brain development. The toddler who is not really listening is hearing, is minding the language. The teenager or the preteen is trying to plan, but is still beginning to think. The real teenager who is about 13 to 19 is emotionally connected so much that when you talk to them, they can easily feel emotionally offended. So when we speak to them in high volume, you end up hitting onto each other. Let's lower our volume to improve communication, but also let's journal. Members, I would like to ask the moderator to take up the last part of the session. So basically, this is what I had to say. And most of these things, you will really may not find them in everywhere. We have used our previous experiences. And if you want to continue speaking to us, I will ask someone to type our stepping stone numbers in the chat room. Rachel has already put them there. She's working behind scenes. So this is what I had to share with you. Maybe, Janet, you may allow some 2 or 3 questions. Could parents share with us? I would just want to hear parents share an incident when they had to raise their volume or lower their volume unnecessarily, because also some parents lower their volumes unnecessarily. There is a time when you need to be at 9 and then your volume is at 1. That is also a problem, by the way. Okay? Yes. So, and in case you want to reach us out, please, my number is in the chat and the stepping stone numbers have also been posted. So I would like to have at least 2 parents here who have had, maybe they are your siblings or your neighbors. It doesn't have to be you, but as an incident where the volume had to be high or it had to be low than required. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Dr. Hanifa, for sharing your wisdom with us. We are sure going to move from being, we are going to move our homes from being chaotic to have a more connection with our children. Thank you for sharing such great insights with compassion and real life wisdom. Just like Doctor has told us, dear parents, kindly share so that we can save time to only 2 parents to share. Thank you. Unmute, you're free to unmute, then you share your experience. Kindly unmute. If someone can raise their hand, feel free. I can see Hilda Grace has unmuted. Good evening, Hilda.
Yes, good
Yes.
evening to you all.
All
Thank you
right,
so much
share.
for sharing.
You're welcome.
Something that has really stood out is mainly, I would summarize it as regulating our emotions as caregivers, because many times either we are responding based on a situation that is going on in our world, and then it comes out towards the child in a certain way. Sometimes we fail to balance the emotions within us, and then we come up as being pushy, and then sometimes being uninvolved. So it's more of it's a reminder to have moments of meditation. I love the journal. It's more of meditation and evaluating how am I doing? Am I withdrawing? Or then secondly, the respect. When it comes to respect is and as caregivers, sometimes we want to be the right ones, but I love what Doctor shared about when a moment she was apologizing to the daughter. It takes humility and it takes a humble heart. This is a challenge to us as parents to be
I
humble
know.
enough to accept the mistakes that we do. Once we do that, then it will also give the children an avenue for them to open up, and also, even when they make a mistake, they will also do likewise. I do teach babies, toddlers, and we have a saying, monkey see, monkey do. Whatever that we do, it's what they copy. Yeah, thank you so much, Doctor, for sharing.
Wow, I would like to copy that. It's monkey see, monkey do.
Yes. Monkey see, monkey do. That's what parents called Hilda has said. Monkey see, monkey do. That what we as parents do, that's what the children copy and emulate. If we don't listen, they will also not listen to us as we are guiding them. All right. Is there any other parent who would like to share?
To me, what she's actually talking about, that emotional intelligence for us as parents. We need to realize that our children have emotions. So also by the way, all this issue begins with us being emotionally stable. We need to re-engineer ourselves as parents. We need to re-engineer ourselves as parents to actually, we need to re-engineer ourselves oh, I think I have an echo. Sorry. So we're talking about the journal. Next time, I think we shall even talk about how journaling improves communication for parents. And I would like also Madam Grace to share her number, because we need to teach parents. You are in the nursery, you said you teach kindergarten. We need our parents to actually know that nowadays we need to journal, we need to write down some of these things. Otherwise, it is really, really something that is very, very important. Madam Janet, I turn back the microphone as we wind up. Okay, members, I don't know whether I'm audible, but I would just want to thank our parents for attending this insightful session today. we request that we shall be having our next webinar. We are going to have a series of webinars. We are going to have a series of webinars so that, and then we shall be able to
Recording in progress.
So our next webinar will be announced, and I would like to close this for today. Thank you very much for coming. Keep us posted. I hope, Madam Grace, you've shared your number, because we would like to reach you for further guidance on how we can really promote this parent journaling for improved communication. Thank you very much. Madam Janet, please close this.
Dr. Hanifa, I'm going to inbox you. I have your contact.
Okay, please, thank you.
Okay.
So members, bye-bye. See you for next webinar. Kindly share. We shall ask you for feedback. So we are going to inbox you for the feedback. Otherwise, see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you,
Yes,
Doctor.
thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Doctor, for always sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you, Doctor.